Welcome to my podcast. My name is Corrinala, and I come to you from the Pacific Northwest, where I live with my husband, 2 horses that I adopted from the Bureau of Land Management Wildhorse Adoption Program, and 2 kitties we adopted from the local animal shelter. Information about these adoption programs will be in the show notes for every episode. The purpose of this podcast is to share real-life stories that hopefully are relatable to other crafters who might be interested in horses. The format of this podcast starts with a walk to the barn to feed the horses, catch up on the week, share my knitting projects, and other interests like bicycling or hiking. I also talk about vegetable gardening and cooking. I hope you bring your favorite beverage and a fun, crafty project to work on. Enjoy! Hi friends, welcome to an unexpected episode of my podcast. I see my glasses are really reflective and they probably are like that all the time. I just don't always notice. So apologies if that bothers you. I don't know how to, the window is right there. Well, I tried to change things up for you, but it didn't work. So it perhaps bothers me more than it bothers you, but I want to be able to see. So shall we get started? The reason why this podcast is unexpected, I hope you have a crafty thing to work on. I hope you have something nice to drink. I'm working on a cup of tea. It's herbal tea. It's a blood pressure formula, as I've noticed my blood pressure has been creeping up over the last year or so, and if you have been with me for a while, you know that there has been a lot going on over the last year or so for me personally, and that's not to say that my situation is unique or special, because I don't think it is. I think people have stuff going on every single day. All that to say, I am drinking something very nice and warm and tasty. The reason why I wasn't expecting to have a podcast today is because my trainer and I were taking Bragi to a clinic today. Last night, she messaged me and said that the clinician style was not going to work for Bragi. And she explained why. I won't go into details, and I won't give the clinician's name because I don't want to call attention to them. Their philosophy varies quite a bit differently than our philosophy in horsemanship, and neither my trainer or I want to set Bragi back. So we will regroup and figure something else later. But let's talk about knitting. What am I wearing? I am wearing this kind of a strange outfit of, I have a long sleeve gray t-shirt on, and I was cold because it has been raining all week. So I am wearing a mohair fingering weight tee by, I think it's Tanis Fiber Arts, and it is possibly the Rocket tee. When I do my show notes, I will put it in there for sure. What this pattern calls for is a alternating sections of fingering weight and then alternating sections. So you can see I've separated mine by a pearl ridge with mohair. I knit that. I didn't like it, so I ripped it out and I decided to hold it double. hold the mohair with the fingering weight yarn, and then just put a ribbed row to make it sort of stripy. So I wear this as a vest. I have been organizing my knits. I have been organizing my office, and which is where I work most days, and also is my kind of my yarn room, my podcast room, all the things that I do. It's Corrina's room. And it felt pretty good to get stuff put away, get office stuff put in one place, get exercise stuff put in another place, get knitting stuff put in another place. So that felt really good to be able to do that this week. I did go to the office twice. As you know, we have a return to office order, which is, I've went on and on about this before. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and it costs a lot of money. That could be going out to the community that we serve, especially since when most of us go to the office, we are not meeting in person. We are on our computers meeting through Teams or Zoom, because we are very well set up for that. During the pandemic, when everyone was sent home from the office, we received a lot of tools to do that well. So the return to office doesn't make a lot of sense. It's our current administration's wish for now, so we are doing the best that we can. I keep getting off track with the knitting. So let's talk about the project that I have been focusing on the most. It's in this bag. This is for a knit along. This bag was made by my mom. You'll notice the homage to our kitties with the little black kitty monsters. They're very cute. So I have been working on the Traveler by Andrea Mowry. This is for her spring knit along, and it ends the end of this month. I don't know that I'm going to get this sweater done by the end of the month, especially since I'm going to be doing the hooded version. But I am on the second sleeve, and I only have 25 rows left of the second sleeve. You'll notice that I have two different colors of yarn. So they're both Cascade 220 and a sport weight. And I thought I had plenty of yarn, but I decided to add length because I made this a little more fitted than it's intended. It's supposed to be very oversized, which of course stretches down and out, and I didn't really want that. So I had to make it a little bit longer, and then I made the sleeves kind of bracelet length, which is my favorite. So I had originally it's a bottom-up sweater, and I'd originally started planning on doing the trim with this rust color, but then I ended up losing at Yarn Chicken, and so I ended up doing part of the back, and that is going to be covered by the hood, so I'm not particularly concerned about it. And then it's been a while since I had planned to do the sleeves in this rust color, and then the hood will be in rust as well. So it's entirely possible that I will have this done by the end of May. I was going to optimistically say the end of next week, but that would be silly. I don't knit that fast. I have been knitting pretty monogamously though. It's a cool pattern. It's very squishy, and it'll go in this closet right there, which is where I have put my fall and winter knits as we are getting into kind of the more summery months, although it's hard to tell. It was like 45 degrees when I went out to feed the horses this morning. Chowgu red lace. I think they're US size 4. Have this cute little mushroom stitch marker that I got from Northwest, or Fiber Fusion Northwest last year. And I did mention an episode or two ago that I am going to that again, and I signed up for a couple classes. So that is that project. I have also been sort of working on, I don't know that I've made a ton of progress since I showed this last. This is the sock arm sweater. It's in this bag made by my husband. I'll show you the pretty side. The not so pretty side is getting worn out because it's well loved. He made this with his industrial machine. And this pattern is out of this book, Knit Happy with Self-Striping Yarn by Stephanie Lotven. This is the fourth garment I have made out of this, and let me show you what it looks like. So I have one sleeve done, and I just have to finish this sleeve, which I was planning on working on after I'm done podcasting here or recording. So I'm here. I'm on the decrease section. So this is Freckled Whimsey, Jeepers Creepers. The main body of the yarn, or the main body yarn, is a Knit Picks Gloss, which is a merino silk blend. So not superwash, so I will have to remember that. So I have noticed a slight color difference between, so I think when you have multiple skeins of yarn, it is best, even with knit picks, it is best to do helical knitting. So in other words, alternating your yarns from different skeins, and I did not do that. And I'm not going to do it now. So, and I'm using Chogu red lace, probably size 4, it looks like. And then hopefully the cuff needles are in this bag. Also a US size 2, 2.75. That, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll be doing the ribbing around the cuff for the, I bet I will. I'll bet I'll be doing that first. So I should just move those needles over right now while I'm thinking about it. I've had lots of ideas for future projects. My show notes have all my Stashdown plans because I'm on a major Stashdown journey, I guess you could say. It's a major goal of mine. So one of the ways that I cleaned out the office is I had these notebooks full of printed patterns, and I decided to give those printed patterns assignments. So they are now, my yarn, a lot of my yarn, my DK and worsted weight yarn is in there. So I've matched those patterns with quantities of yarn. Isn't that clever? So, and I have a running list in my show notes if you're interested in the patterns that I am working on. And then I'm going to do some scrappy stuff. I may do some, there's a sock events coming up this summer. Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears is doing the Summer of Stitching. I believe it's a patron only event. So, and you know, if you're interested in that, I think it's well worth joining for at least the June, July, and August. So there's going to be 2 pairs of socks. Nitty Natty of Love and Stitches has a summer sock week, usually in July. And then I haven't watched it yet, but I saw that the Crazy Sock Lady is doing some summer sock camp this year. So if you need ideas to get inspired, I recommend visiting them. I have some yarns that are like half skeins, 50 grams, and that's plenty for me to make a pair of socks of the length that I like. So I may be using some of that. In this bag is my blanket. My mom made this one. This is a simple drawstring bag with, of course, the beloved horse motif. And this has the 100 Acre Wood blanket, which is a mitered square blanket with small squares. So each square is only about 3 grams, so I do end up with leftovers. And I was excited about that at first. Now I see the value of having a much bigger square, like the 5 gram squares. And the other thing that she does differently than the other one is that the decreases show more of a zigzag. So you can see this one going that way and then this one going that way. So I'm on the 4th stripe. I did put a few squares in this week. So I can't remember where I left off last week, but now I'm down to here. So I'm planning on making this at least 25 by 25. And this is a KF Jones pattern called 100 Acre Wood. I'm using Addie's Flexi Flips in, I think these are a US size 2.75 millimeter. So it's been a fun blanket, and you know, I kind of thought that I was over blankets because I used to crochet blankets a lot when I was a kid with my mom and my sister, and also even in the 90s I crocheted blankets primarily with acrylic yarn. So I still have them, and they will last forever, of course. And you can see here, this is a blanket. It's crocheted. My mom made for me when I was, I want to say 10 or 11. I'm thinking 11 for some reason. I'm not sure. There's been a lot of pollen out too. So, I mean, the rain has knocked the pollen down some, but there's just still a lot of stuff in the air. So, this is my jar of leftovers from the 100 Acre Wood blanket. And my jar is getting too full. So I was like, well, what am I going to do with that? I could do a lot of color work things with a, you know, a very neutral background, and using all of these for some sort of motif. I could do scrappy socks. I am not a huge fan of scrappy socks. I know there's people who do it and do it well. I'm going to make a scrappy blanket, and I am going to make it based on a scarf. It's called the zigzag scarf pattern. So hopefully you can see that. It's basically a ripple, and it's a very thick, wide scarf. So the one that I have, I think I still have it. Yeah, it is literally like at least 18 inches wide. So I thought, well, why don't I just cast on 3 times the amount of stitches and do this pattern. Looks like it's a 2-row repeat. And the pattern calls for alternating yarns between, so you do one color going in one direction and then another color going in the other direction, I think. Let me look at this. No, you do one pattern repeat with each color, and then the next, which is 2 rows, and then the next one you do the next color. So I may consider that, and just, like I said, do it very scrappy. And, you know, if I run out of yarn, one color in the middle of a row, I'm just going to add another color. So that's what I'm thinking of doing with this. And the needles are a 3 millimeter. So I don't really want to tie up any of my circular needles for that. So what I have, and I've never shared this with you before, but what I have is this nifty hand-sewn needle case that a friend got me when she was visiting an estate sale. And it came full of knitting needles. I have knitting needles, I think, from my grandmother in here. So this is what it looks like. It folds open, and then it has all these needles, very long needles that are, I forgot what you call these. But it's the type of needle that has a stopper. They're not double point, they're single pointed needles. There's a lot, I mean, they're made out of metal, various sizes. This is a size 10. Most of them are kind of smaller diameter. Some of them are plastic, like this one. And this is a, looks like an 8. So, and there's shorter ones too. So, like if you were going to knit a scarf, for instance. So, there's also all kinds of double pointed needles in here too. So, these And I would have to use a needle gauge thing. There's also, I'll show you the other side. There's just all these nifty little pockets in here. So I have all these pins. Some are metal, some are blocking pins. I'm not sure what the plastic pins would be for. I suppose you could use them for blocking if you were blocking them on something soft, rather than kind of a, you know, a rubberish mat. So it also has spots for crochet hooks, which I have not put my crochet hooks in here. And that is not a crochet hook, but there are, here's a crochet hook right here. So somebody spent a lot of time, and there's definitely stuff in here. So, because I can feel the rigidity of it. So very small crochet hook. Old-fashioned metal kind. And then this side, oh, and there's also these other very big pockets that I don't know what exactly a person would do with that. I did just find a needle in there, so I'll put that in a different pocket. The pocket on this side, and it has Velcro. I have all sorts of stuff in here. Some of it I don't know what it's for. So, anyone know what that thing's for? And then some circular needles with the plastic, and I don't use these. You know, honestly, I should donate these because I only use really chow goo. So a stitch holder, lots of other, I haven't really sorted through this. And then there's some rug hooking stuff in here too. Oh, and a crochet hook. Nice. So lots of stuff in here that I don't really use. Big crochet hook. So I was going to show you the other side of this. So more pockets with tall needles, double point plastic, double pointed needles. Here is the needle gauge thingamajig. And then there's these cute little pockets over here that they have handwritten numbers on them, or letters. No, it's 4, 5. So I'm not sure what you would put in here exactly. But it feels like there's circular needle in here. That's a 10. And then this pocket has, I think this is the needle I just stuck in there. It's a sewing needle, so it's sharp. And then, yeah, there's just all these fun little pockets. And so all that to say, since I have this and I don't want to use my circular needles for a blanket, I thought I would use one of these. And I think I'm going to use, these are a US size 3. So, and these are a US size 2. I am tempted to use the US size 3, just because it would go a little bit faster. But, you know, do you think I can get like 180 stitches fingering weight yarn on that needle? I think I can. 180 or thereabouts. I can't remember how many I thought I was going to do, but could be a couple hundred needles. So we'll see how that goes. But that is the plan for that, is making this zigzag scarf very long and very wide. And I mean, it could be more like 300 stitches cast on here. So we'll see how that goes. That is that all that I have this week? Pretty much. I mean, the rest is really about the same. I have an unexpected weekend free, which is okay. It is time to plant tomatoes, so I got a free tomato plant from my physical therapist. I'm working on my left knee, which is a result of the accident that I had last year when I fell off Odin and dislocated my left shoulder. Well, the knee was also traumatized, and I just didn't notice until this year. The body has priorities, so I'm working on that now. And I'm trying to think of anything else I planted. A lot of my overwintered vegetables have gone to seed, which is fine. I don't mind letting the pollinators have those for a while until I want to plant something else. Potatoes are coming up. Peas are coming up. The greens are either going to seed or they're thriving. I've got rhubarb coming up. I still have rhubarb in the freezer from last year. I have tomatoes in the freezer from last year, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. And part of those is Randy gets indigestion from tomatoes, so it's hard to add tomatoes to dishes. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those yet. But that's all I have. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you enjoy this surprise podcast, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.